Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens. Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter. Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special edition of the A Show. Actually, this is a very special edition of this is like a pre-A Show because we're waiting for Apes to come on. We're going to have Mick Foley here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special edition of the A Show. Actually, this is I'm very humbled to have a guy like Mick on here. Mick has been such a supporter of mine, which has always kind of blown me away. But far more importantly than that, Mick has always been a first-class human being, a stand-up guy, and somebody that, I think outside the ring, I really wish more people, had his take on life, shall we say. Let's say we have the Canadian spaceman. Thank you. Well, Frank, I appreciate that.
Hello.
That means the world to me. Thank you. Well, please don't pee your pants.
A triple boob off. What is that?
I think that's what you mean, Trevor. Oh, I think with Mick Foley, because you mean Trevor.
Triple pec flex.
Yes.
So I apologize for being late, you guys. I had work earlier today, and we got sidetracked, and we got to talking, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, you got to get out. I'm like, leave. We have to go live.
Yeah. But she should have come on the show too. Like, look, she's hosted the show.
I told her.
Yeah.
I said, do you want to stay? And she's like, no, I won't stay. I'm like, oh, you can. I'm like,
yeah. we have the Canadian spaceman. Thank you. Well, Frank, I appreciate that.
Hello.
That means the world to me. Thank you. Well, please don't pee your pants.
A triple boob off. What is that?
I think that's what you mean, Trevor. Oh, I think with Mick Foley, because you mean Trevor.
Triple pec flex.
Yes.
So I apologize for being late, you guys. I had work earlier today, and we got sidetracked, and we got to talking, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, you got to get out. I'm like, leave. We have to go live.
Yeah. But she should have come on the show too. Like, look, she's hosted the show.
I told her.
Yeah.
I said, do you want to stay? And she's like, no, I won't stay. I'm like, oh, you can. I'm like,
yeah.
Choose something. You either have to stay or you have to go, one or the other. So it's nice to see you guys here, especially in the middle of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you all for joining us right here in the middle of the day. This is pretty cool. This is something that I'm genuinely flattered that all of you are here to check us out. Check out Mick. I was just saying before you came on, just what a wonderful human being Mick is, and I just wish more people in the industry were like him outside of the ring. You know, in terms of just how genuine and thoughtful he is, and at the same time, you know, he really does. He's one of the good guys. You know, he's on the good guy team, shall we say?
He's genuinely like that too.
Yeah,
I mean, genuinely like that. He's always been like that. Like I met him way back when we were in Boston for the first time, and I was amazed how tall he is. I mean, he's a tall guy. Yeah. And someone said I'm coming to Allentown. I am coming to Allentown on Sunday. That just happened. So yes, I will be in Allentown on Sunday and
coming here in Allentown, like the Billy Joel song.
Coming here in Allentown. Yeah, I can't do that. But yes, I will be there, and I'm super excited to be up in the Northeast again. But yeah, I met Mick backstage Boston, and came up to his here on him, and
a lot of those, you know, back in the day, it's funny. I was having this conversation with Wade Barrett, over a year ago now, I guess.
They're big, big dudes.
Yeah, we were the last generation, of big people. Now everyone's super small now, or just average size. It's pretty crazy. To where you had guys like Chris Jericho, who are, Jericho's not short, but he was considered a smaller guy.
He's my height, right?
He's 6 feet, I think, maybe.
Oh, is he really? I thought he was
maybe 6 feet, 5'11" or something like that. It's just a little nuts now how guys are shorter. But Kurt Hennig, the first time I met Mr. Perfect, I was amazed. I was like, whoa, he's super tall. So yeah,
Jake the Snake.
Jake is taller than me. Jake's
massive.
6'5". Yeah,
he's massive. Yeah.
So that's cool. But yes, going forward, now we have so much to talk about. This is a very special edition of the A Show. And again, I've already thanked everyone for joining us, but I think as we have more people kind of filing in now, it's the middle of the day. It's technically, it's the middle of the week, smack dab in the middle of the week. But we have a wonderful guest. Mick Foley's joining us, and it's for a pretty serious topic. And it's something that I think both you and I can relate to on a very, very personal level. And, Mick is doing everything he can with the shirt off his back, which we'll talk about that. And again, just kind of our own personal experiences with suicide. And so I don't know if Mick is ready to come on.
I'm
Colin,
right now.
You want to do the music intro right now? So Colin, how about this? How about we hit the music? Let's get us introed, and then we'll see where we're at. You know how everyone here knows how I like to call things on the fly, right? It's organic production, as we say. So whatever organically happens. So Col, if you want to hit the music, we'll get this thing started.
Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to the A Show. For those of you that are just joining us, like within the last 15 seconds, thank you very much. For those of you that have been on here for about, I'd say the last, 7 minutes exactly on the dot. I just saw it right up there.
Yeah.
Thank you as well. Special guest today, Mick Foley. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, but we're going to be talking a lot about suicide awareness, suicide prevention, mental health. We have a spectrum of guests and we cover a spectrum of topics. We had Trevor on, the NWA champion, Trevor Murdoch. We had a wonderful show and talked about Trevor and I, going into a house with some firearms and everything and trying to, we caught a guy named Thieving Charlie in Eldon, but listen to the show. I highly recommend that. But today we're going to get a little more serious because it's something that I think, especially now with the temperature of society and kind of what's going on out there, I think we all need to talk about. I think suicide awareness, suicide prevention is something that it needs to be discussed more because nowadays, especially with the way the world is, more and more people, they're deciding to take that way out. And it's funny because a lot of people, they think, oh, suicide's the easy way out. You know what? I don't agree with that statement. No. Do you know how hard I can only imagine to get to that point? And where you actually follow through. I mean, I have struggled with thoughts of suicide myself.
Everyone has.
Yeah,
Everyone has.
Like
98% of the population has. And
and that's
we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah,
you can't even talk to therapists about it.
98% of the population. So it's something that we got to just get out there, and to get to the point where you're even thinking about it it's a horrible place. And then to get to the point where you actually do it is something, again, I can't comprehend because it really, really is just just a horrible, horrible thing. And, it's the people that you leave behind. It is like the ramifications, right? And whatever makes somebody not, whether it's pull the trigger or however they decide to take their life, when you get to that point and you're really thinking about doing it, whatever kind of brings you back in, whatever says, if I do this, my parents it'll crush them. It'll crush my spouse. It will crush whoever, right? And, for some, it's that. For some, it's maybe something else. Why do we get to that point? What brings us back? How do we stop from not getting to that point? And that's what I think,
finding hope.
Yes.
Finding hope, because I would say nobody wants to die. They just don't want to live as they've been living, and they can't find a way out. They don't have hope for the future. So sometimes if you speak to other people, they can help you find that light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas we keep telling ourselves the same story over and over and over again. After a while, we start believing that, So if we actually reach out to people and tell them, hey, you know what? I don't see a way out of this. I don't have any hope. It's looking kind of dark. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm not feeling like going on. Talk me out of this, because I don't see the point anymore. If you're real honest about it like that, you never know. You might actually have somebody show you the way.
Yeah. And look, a lot of it, in my opinion, is, and I'm going to say this, right? I'm not, we're in a time, and everyone here, they know my kind of social beliefs, right? Where be who you want, be what you want, just don't hurt anybody else. But as a male, it's really, really kind of conditioned in to not really share feelings like this. Like we have to be very kind of strong and, just not show emotion that much. And even in corporate culture, right? Now this goes beyond male female stereotypes. This is like, in the corporate world, everything's great, and you have to kind of put on this air of not only false bravado, but false happiness or false tranquility. And as human beings, we're simply not wired.
Good.
Yeah, we're simply not wired to be like that. I remember in WWE specifically, there was a guy that was in talent relations, and like got to talk, like to say, oh yeah, you want to know how to politic? When someone asks how you are, say, oh, never better.
Living the dream.
Yeah,
living the dream, brother.
And that's a very stupid statement, by the way. That this living the dream stuff. Okay, just stop with the living the dream. Enough. Okay, that's on a side note. And that's real.
I only say that when I'm sarcastic.
Just stop it.
I know.
It should be used only to be sarcastic, to make fun of people who say living the dream, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. But honestly, I agree with you. I think guys have it really difficult. Like guys, there's a certain kind of, I don't know, bullshittery that's on men in a lot of ways. Like men are not allowed to, they wear a certain weight on their shoulders. And I don't know if that's them just putting on there or society putting on there. They say middle-aged men are the loneliest group in the world.
When I get to middle age, I'll I hope
I know you don't know where that is, but yeah, they say they're very lonely. Everybody's worried about dealing with the family, the kids, this, that. Nobody's reaching out to each other. The friendships are, not necessarily there anymore. There's things that need to be done, and it's disheartening, and all the quarantine and the strife that's going on right now with the disliking between one group and another group, that's bothering me as well. All the hatred and stuff, and we need to reach out and find the hope.
Absolutely. And again, where especially in my opinion, I'm not going to say all, but a very large amount of, or a very large percentage of mainstream media simply wants us to pay attention, right? Because they want us to engage, and they use, fear as the primary tool to get us to do that. And fear, they divide, right? Where, look, people are going to have different beliefs, right? Let's take the vaccine. Some people say you should be vaccinated. Some people say you shouldn't. Then there's science, right? Where we can all get behind science, but the information has been so skewed that people don't know who to believe in. And we'd like to trust science, but how can we when, we're not being told the truth, right? So this is just all something that adds to the stress, right? Where people are being divided. Anxiety. My God.
Depression. It's not the uncertainty of not knowing what's going on. So that's tough. So trying to live in the now and find your people and find your support network. And, if you're spiritual, find your spirituality, go out for a walk in nature, center yourself, ground yourself, lean into your friendship, rekindle your friendship, find new friends, go out and join, go to the meetup groups in your area for things that you like to do. It's important. We're social creatures, so it's important to connect. So even if that's online, getting on, I have a writers group on Thursday nights. They do what's called quarantini, and everybody sits around for 2 hours and they do a writing thing, and we can all see each other. We all talk to each other. It's surprising. And speaking of, I see all you guys in here. I've seen lots of questions that you guys are making or are asking. If you are looking for older episodes where we do cover some of the questions that you're asking, you can support us on Patreon. It's patreon.com, the A Show. And there are quite a few free episodes on there too. Just kind of dig around and you'll find them. So you can go back and look in there. You'll also find our episode to Daphne on that page. Sorry, I didn't have enough coffee yet today. Aaron's a little more awake than I am. So you can find us on there, and we do appreciate you supporting us very much. It keeps us going. And every week we are on Tuesday nights live on this channel on Twitch TV, the A Show, and also on YouTube. And then it goes on to our Patreon page. So thank you for being a supporter here and there. We appreciate it. So Chuck says, love your Patreon. Thank you. We love you for being on our Patreon.
Oh, yes. That's so cool. Thank you.
So, but yes, we like to tackle all kinds of topics. We always say expect the unexpected. So we try not to shy away from anything. And we're kind of we like to think that we're a moderate voice of reason in an unreasonable world right now. So
yeah, and you know what the thing is, we constantly say, like, we don't have all the I mean, no one has all the answers, but we're not going to make believe that we do, right? We're not going to say this is what's going on, and you know what the reality of it is, who really does know? But we can, and I say I'm talking about April and I, Colin, and all of you, because like you're definitely we're all on the same team here, where you guys are just as much part of the A Show as us. You guys are the patrons with a capital A, you know what I'm saying? So we can research and like, what do we think the best decision is, right? And I'm not going to just turn this into a vaccine thing. I'm talking about with everything, right? Like who to vote for in the election, who to go to in terms of to seek medical help. Like there's so many different things, but I think a common denominator that has been all but lost is basic civility. It's respecting somebody else's opinion. And when you want to engage in a discussion, like we live in a world, right, where we say, okay, it's not cool to judge, right? This is an objective moral truth, right?
Or bully. We say it's not cool to bully too.
Yes. So like I've kind of talk about like that, and I have talked in the past about those objective moral truths, right? The things that as human beings we innately know, right? Like racism is not okay. Discrimination is not okay. It's not okay to go, walk down the street and just murder somebody, right? Like all these things are not okay. And I think civility is one of those things that like we need to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? When we live in a world that says, do not judge, don't judge a book by its cover. Okay. So if someone expresses a political opinion, right, or on an issue, you immediately cannot, in my opinion, I'm not saying all of you do this, but I'm saying that there are people that do this where they express an opinion that is contrary to what someone else believes. They are automatically attacked, and the assumption is made that this person, hates a certain group of people, is, has an arsenal of guns at home, et cetera, to where they have no idea what this person's like, right? It was just a simple opinion. And, vice versa, if someone expresses an opinion like, oh, you know what, I think we should take a vaccine, right? Well, don't judge them and saying, oh, you're a sheep, you're this, you're that, because maybe they did research, maybe they have, underlying medical conditions that behooves them to get it, right? We need to just have civility, have room for a dialogue, and have respect each other enough as fellow human beings, as members of the human race, to not attack, to engage, to truly listen, and to hopefully find some middle ground, right? And if you can't find the middle ground, then you know what? Agree to just disagree, and don't necessarily go after them, and don't bastardize them. So that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, and I'm trying to reach Mick at the moment. I don't know if he did say he was traveling today.
Okay.
So he has this time slot between his flights, checking in the hotel, and then his show. So I don't know if he's running late or I don't know. So hopefully,
Okay.
he'll log on when he can. So
Well, you know what?
there's
Okay,
that.
so hopefully Mick logs on when he can. You know what? Then, if we have an amazing opportunity with people here, so here's what I would like to do. I'm seeing in the comment section. What? Oh yes, there we go.
Hopefully not.
Um, that's so funny. So how about we do this? With all, if this is okay with you, April, and you, Colin, let's use this opportunity as we're waiting for Mick to come on. If any of you have any questions, if any of you have ever struggled or dealt with suicide, whether it's like, the thoughts have kind of came into you, or you've been affected, someone you know and love has kind of fallen victim to suicide. If you guys would like to share in the comment section and kind of maybe share a little bit of your story, let's all discuss this. And if anyone is struggling right now, and April, myself, Colin, and the rest of us can help, let's go ahead and do this. So you know what? Just type away. Yeah. And let's let's use this as a positive.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have a few times. It's with having bipolar disorder, I feel like suicidal thoughts have kind of always been there. They're almost like old friends at this point. But sometimes having thoughts like that can make you feel more alive, because sometimes people honestly don't start living until they start dying. So they don't start appreciating life until they realize they aren't really getting too much more of it anymore. So when you do, this is a silver lining of having suicidal thoughts for those of you who have had them. When you do have suicidal thoughts, try to use that to your advantage. So in addition to finding the hope and the light at the end of the tunnel, try to use it to remind yourself that in a way that you're like a cat, you get 9 lives, and to go back into life after that and to really fucking live it. Don't just trudge through. If you can, don't just trudge through treating every day as though you get a million of them. Treat every day as though you might not get a whole lot more. You never know. So really embrace life and taste your food and go outside and play and pet the dog and tell people you love them. Yeah. And then inadvertently through those actions, you'll start finding the hope and the love and the reasons to, you know what I mean? It starts coming to you. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I really think it does. Yes. It's, again, finding the joy there. So actually Frank's, pickled barrelus, I think, yes. And, okay. So yes, there we go. So you know what? Okay, Frank, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's really brave of you to do that. And you know what? That's another thing, right? To where, people that are struggling financially, they say, oh, Robin Williams. All right. Robin Williams, you talk about somebody at the top of the world, right? Like, why would Robin Williams take his own life? Right? He has all the money he'll ever need, family and everything. Well, this is not something that is regulated to people that are struggling financially or that have lost, that you break up with your wife, you go through a divorce or something happens like that. This is something that and I don't know if a disease is the right word, April, but it can affect anyone. It knows no socioeconomic borders, right? So, okay, so let's go back to Frank, right? Where, okay, you have, was it 3 daughters you said? Yeah, so 3 great daughters, a great wife, and you're struggling with this, right? Whatever lets you get to that point, Frank, and maybe it's, you love your family so much, you want to take better care of them, right? Look at what helps, in my opinion, right? What has helped me when I was kind of struggling with things like this is you remove yourself completely from the situation. If you feel you have nothing left to lose, right? To where you just want to kind of check out and say, enough is enough. I'm tired of living. You owe it to yourself, because you got nothing to lose anyway. Okay. To take a second, right? Usually 3 to 5 seconds, just take a deep breath and say, okay, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I don't feel like I'm good enough. Right. And then, like you said, April, you find your reasons. 3 great daughters and a great wife. All right. I wish I could, and I'm not saying this is what happened, Frank, but I'm just trying to come up with, anything. Like, I don't think I can be a better father. I can be a better husband. Well, then you know what? In that moment where you take a deep breath, be grateful for, again, 3 great daughters and a great wife in 2021. That really says something, right? And then you can appreciate that. And then, to me, like, when you can appreciate stuff, that'll snap you out of it. And because it has me.
Gratitude. Like,
I've been there.
It's hard. Like, gratitude can snap me out of it too. I'm just like, this sucks. I'm scared. I don't know where life is going. What if it's this? What if this? What if the world is gonna turn on the unvaxxed and exclude them from everything? What if this? What if that? And then I'm just like, okay, hang on. I'm grateful for this. This happened today. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. Okay, at least I have this. You know what I mean? So, like, you can kind of change if you can't change your situation, change the way you look at it. Because you can't always control what's going on around you, but you can control your reaction to it or to the people. You can't control them. You can't control a lot. But we can control our reactions to these things and how we look at it. So sometimes a lot of it's tweaking how we're thinking and tweaking how we're looking at it. Somebody up there, MV Hitman 73, said, there are days I can't walk or do simple things. It's very taxing. I can't take 2 steps without pain sometimes. Were you a wrestler? It's complicated with me. A simple fix is surgery, but no elective surgeries right now. So it's either I suck it up and try to change my mentality during the day, or other measures. Just last week, I had someone take the key from my firearm. Well, that means that somebody cares about you and loves you enough to look after you. So that in and of itself is a good thing. Obviously, people truly give a shit about you. And some people don't have that. So that's good. It does suck when you're in constant pain.
Oh yeah.
I won't even pretend to, you know what I mean? I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if there's anything, I don't know your pain situation. I don't know any of that. Sometimes there are things that you can do while you're waiting for elective surgery to come back, like CBD oil, chair yoga, some stretching and physical therapy that you can do at home. Some of those things will help. Heat and ice. It's more of pain management. I don't know if that will help at all, but I know when you're a lot of pain physically, mentally, things can come down a lot more too, and it makes stuff difficult. So if there's a way to figure out how to manage your pain in a kind of a constructive way, it might help with how you're feeling mentally as well. And if you want to talk to us more about that, being as though we've both been thrown around the ring a whole lot and deal with a lot of pain, we might be able to have some insight to help. I don't know, but I'm glad someone is looking after you. So
yeah, I mean, there's exploring alternative means and stuff like that as far as pain management goes. But and look, I'm all about I'm very pro gun. legally, and I believe we need background checks and everything like that. But if you're in a bad place, I don't necessarily think access to a firearm is the best thing, because it takes 2 seconds. And you know what? Trust me, I get, and I've reached out to April when I have been in a bad place, and I get it when it just nothing seems like it's going to help, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you're kind of in this void to where you don't see a way out. You don't know which way's up, which way's down, and your mental faculties, which of course include rational thought, are completely skewed if seemingly,
especially with depression.
Yes,
your chemicals are not always, for a lot of people, if it's like a clinical depression, your chemicals are imbalanced.
Yeah, and
not unlike a diabetic. So,
exactly.
I mean, and for situational depression, it could be the same thing. Chemicals are imbalanced due to what's going on. Kind of like when you get anxiety. So when you're imbalanced, you're seeing things differently, and it's
yeah.
So
and
Chuck.
Okay, what do we have here now? Struggle with depression times, but never. It's more like
You can read all that.
Yeah, all right. So I've struggled with depression at times, but I've never come close to suicide. It's more like I don't care if I lived or died. When I saw the show Afterlife by Gervais, I thought I was looking at myself at times, especially after my mom died 5 years ago. I'm better now, but still occasionally feel it. And you know what? It's okay to feel. April, actually, that's a quote from April for earlier this week. We were talking on the phone. And you know something? It's okay to feel. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be okay, despite what the media will have you believe. It's as humans, right? We have been, I don't want to say blessed, graced, but we have been endowed with this whole spectrum of emotions, right? And we happy, sad, depressed, lonely, joyful, jovial. I mean, there's so many different emotions, right? And kind of as we go through life, how we deal with the emotions we're feeling will kind of constitute how our future is, right? To where there was a comment, and I'm going to tie this in. Let's see. It was somebody, and I forgive me. I just saw it. They said how, yes, they were an alcoholic, but they try to temper it with a good diet. Whoever that was, Colin, if we could bring that up too, because I wanted to deal with that, because this is part of what we're saying. So right here. Yes. Canada Spaceman. I'm an alcoholic, but I try to temper it with a good diet. I was never severely abused, but I remember the bad times more than the good, right? Okay, so now to tie that in with the previous comment. So what we focus on right now, sometimes, right, bad times, they can cause trauma, and they can, like, you almost like replay them in your head over and over and over again. And
hey, looking backward fucks your neck up.
Yes. And the neck controls the head. So there you go.
Yeah.
But like, we have the ability, right? Like to say, okay, I'm so happy right now. This is awesome. Right. Like I'll use an example. There were times in my career, because I tend to be very career oriented, especially now that I'm trying to, again, figure out the whole Hollywood thing, and I'm still half-ass in the wrestling business and all that. But like, my career, I have had some absolutely incredible moments. Moments that I, like, most human beings never get to experience it, right? When like the WrestleManias, the just amazing stuff, right? And I remember it was when Miz and I won the tag titles. We were in St. Louis, and just staying there and like having that crowd and just playing with them. And I remember it vividly, right? That was a moment that I, like, in the moment, when I was actually physically in the moment, I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to savor this right now. And I'm going to use this and really file this in the memory bank because it's amazing. Now, that was a very tumultuous year in my life. And I've also encountered a lot of tragedy. And you know what? I'm not going to share everything right now, but it was very, very bad. And, you know, it's not like I wanted to think about it, but it was so traumatic that for a long time, it was like in the back of my mind, I kept playing that over and over and over again. And every decision I made, I didn't allow myself to be happy. And, you know, looking back now, I should have focused more on the moments that I was happy and that like my hard work paid off and yada, yada. But point being, we've all had moments in our life where there's joy. And I know that it can seem like there's no joy now. Like if someone, God forbid, and I pray no one out there has been that's listening to this, but unfortunately, it's probably not the case. Like if you've been in an abusive relationship, if you've had abusive parents or whatever, I mean, there is scarring that is so deep that, you know, I do recommend seeking professional help, right? And because there's nothing that, in my opinion, I can say that can cure everything. But to take that first step to say, you know what, even if it's not a first step, right? Even if it's making the decision, right? I equate it to being, let's say you fall in a hole, right? The hole of depression. Before an escape can be made out of the hole, you have to have the thought, right? Because like suicide comes, it's all thought, right? We think that life's not going to get any better. So we then think that an option is to end our life, right? So these are all thoughts first. If you have the thought and you think of, you know what, I want to get out of this. I don't want to do this. You have the thought of pulling yourself up out of a hole, and then you can start researching the methods to do it. Can you climb the wall? Do you, unthread your t-shirt and make a little rope to get out? Like there's different means of escape, but it all starts with the thought. So if anyone is getting there, and if anyone is at that point, right, where you really are thinking, like, I don't want to live. This is not who I am. This is not what I want to do. I just don't want to breathe anymore. I can't take it. It's too much. The thought of, I want better for myself. I don't want to take this way out. We think it's the only way out, but it's not. Like the thought of, okay, I want to get out of here. Because that thought will lead to another thought, or can lead to another thought. And then that thought can lead to another thought. And before you know it, combined with what April said, being grateful for what you do have, you're at least out of the hole. You may not be out of the forest that the hole is in, but you're at least out of the hole and you're walking on the ground, and you can get your way out of, the forest of depression, the forest of anxiety, the forest of chaos, as we say. So that's my opinion. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And as someone, as Chuck pointed out, Ragnar Lothbrok said on Vikings, why are you looking backwards? You're not going that way. So we have a tendency to judge our future by our past. And we all do it. I do it. Everybody does it. We had some shit that happened in the past. And we were younger then and a lot more stupid. And it didn't work out right. And it was painful. Mm-hmm. And we think if we're going through something similar again in the future, that is going to happen again. And that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy too. So we have to remember that was a learning experience, and now we get a second chance to try again and do it better. So to not let this ruin that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense. And we have Foley. Welcome, Mick.
I made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mick Foley.
I made it. Am I late?
Hello.
Thank you so much. I woke up. I'm telling you. Let me put these teeth in so you know I'm being respectful.
We have a no pants, no teeth podcast.
Yeah,
you
so
are
don't
free
worry
to do
about it.
whatever you want.
Hey, thank you. While we're talking, if you see me thumbing through something, because I think I have something of interest to you, Aron, I think it's something you'll enjoy. But yeah, I set my. I don't get this tour. I'm on this tour. I don't want people to do bad for me because I'm doing what I love to do. And I have Jake Roberts' daughter, Cody, booking the dates, and she's done this amazing job of making sure that none of the dates are too far away. But last night was the big drive. That was like a 5-hour drive, and it was through windy roads. It wasn't through an interstate, and I thought, man, I better get that done at night, because if I try to do this when there's construction, it's going to be a killer. And it reminds me of when you're with WWE and you're 10 days on and 3 days off. What people didn't realize is your first day off is spent getting back home.
Yep.
And that could be right. That could be
that is not a day off. That's work.
and then a lot of the times you're heading back the day before you go to work, so that you're not, because there's big problems if you miss your work. So you're sometimes 12 days on, 1.5 days off. And so I didn't want my entire off day, where I've got a lot of stuff to do, to be spent driving. And then again, I've got to get ahead of time on this tour. I'm only wearing glasses. I want to find this photo that you guys will get a kick out of. But you have to sign the merchandise, the socks, and it's the difference. I described it when I would occasionally show up for WWE. I was like a dinner guest. Someone else has prepared the food. Someone has made it. I get to eat it. Someone else will throw it out when I'm done. And in this case, it's like I got to shop for it. I have to prepare it to make sure everybody's having a great time. I got to clean up, and I got to get ready to go the next day. So I needed this day off so badly. And so I needed whatever. I got 10 hours sleep. And honestly, as soon as I'm talking to you guys, I'm back in the sack.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
It means the world to us, Mick. And how are you doing, by the way? How's the family? It's been a minute since we talked.
It has been a while, right? Yeah, we're all doing pretty good. Doing rights for WWE. It's a difficult job, really difficult. He does a nice job with NXT. But man, I warned him when he wanted to do it. I was like, this is a thankless job. I said, I don't remember a whole lot of people running up to their writer and thanking them for a promo that delivered. I do remember writers getting a lot of flack for stuff that didn't work out.
Yep.
So but what's cool is on the few occasions I've been to NXT, I see the way talent reacts to him. I even see like the look in their eyes, little subtleties, not like, and I've had a couple of guys go out of their way, guys like Finn Balor, and just say, man, I love working with your son. So he's doing that. My daughter, essentially, she works for The Walking Dead. She does a little online campaigns for The Walking Dead.
Very cool.
So she's doing okay. My 20-year-old, he's in his second band with a guy named Mick Hogan. And so
nice.
I've been jamming, and little Huey is he's doing his homeschooling. We're still not quite there as wanting him to go back. And so he's doing his homeschooling, and he has dropped. April, I think you'll really appreciate this. At Holy, last time you saw him, I'm not sure if you ever caught an episode of Holy Foley anyway. But I wouldn't go out and not imagine you have, but I don't know if we have, so I'm not going to say you've seen Holy Foley. But 2016, Huey was 5'6" and 210 pounds, and now he's 6'4" and 160 pounds. So
oh my gosh!
He has completely changed his lifestyle.
He's transformed.
Last time he had something that could be described as a snack is a piece of pizza at Santa's Village. 15 months ago. Pretty cool, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So we're all doing pretty good. My wife's hanging in there. She's doing good. She's going to a concert here in the next couple of days. She's really been looking forward to, and she deserves it because she held down the fort. All right, here it is. I'm writing about the Do and Hugh connection. This is a little book I wrote just for my own family, and I've got
yes.
What am I looking at there? Is that you?
The Miz and Ms. Dow. I'm in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I can see that
They
now.
accompanied me to New York City Comic Con in 2014. And my daughter was dressed up as like an adorable elf because it was October, it's Christmas season. You're an all year Christmas tree person, right, April?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I have Christmas lights up all year.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And so I'm not here to start a family feud, but it appeared to me that Noelle was a tiny bit hurt that far more people were flocking to Ms. and Ms. Dow, which just shows you how incredibly over that. The other thing, he goes, Dewey, maybe we can go for About a Boy, which was a great show. It was the movie.
I love that.
It was a great
movie. Was so great.
Turned into a very good 2-year series, but I'm pretty sure if they showed up as About a Boy, the neighbor and the young boy, that not a soul would have known who they were. But when they put that stuff on, they were pointing to each other, like people were over to get their photos taken. It was great.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I remember you actually texted me that photo, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, that's the coolest thing that they wanted that. And I was talking to April yesterday about this. I don't know if you remember this, but I think this was right after the Ms. Dow when they were kind of just being very relaxed on my creative, to put it nicely, where you had actually started Damien Sandow Day. And I remember on the Monday, that's when Roddy unfortunately passed away. So, we obviously ended up not doing that, but I was so flattered that you actually did that for me and was going to do that. So that always meant the world to me, Mick, and I just wanted to publicly thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Yeah,
Thanks.
I really enjoyed the heck out of that.
Thanks.
Being somebody who really grabs onto something, which on the surface didn't seem to be something with much legs. And it was, it was tremendous. But
thank you.
We're also here to talk about something of a more serious nature, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I first off, thank you for showing up. And I don't know how many people know this, but Mick donated a significant amount toward Daphne's causes, which was NAMI, National Alliance Mental Institute. Am I saying that right? I just know him as NAMI. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And also to the Boston University study of traumatic encephalopathy. I never say that right. But yes, for the brain.
Say it. Even though they've changed it to the Concussion Legacy Institute, I forced myself to say it the other way. I figure say it. Boston Center for Traumatic Encephalopathy. I figure if I continue to say it, that I'm going to be okay, because I'm a guy, who took a lot of rattles, even things I didn't know were bad for my brain, like a lot of the high impact bumps that had nothing to do with me hitting my head. But when there's high impact, your brain, even if you got your chin tucked to your chest like we do, that high impact stuff will cause your brain to rattle in its skull.
Rattles. Yeah.
So these are things I did not know. So I will be sending my brain their way, hopefully decades from now. You never know when that happens. Right before I talked to you, I got off the phone with a representative from NAMI, Georgia. That's where that's the group that Daph, or Shannon's mom, Daph and Shannon, the same person. She set up a fundraiser. I'll be honest, I'm not comfortable with how it's performing. I think it would be much better for the wrestling community if more people chipped in $5, $10, $1, whatever they could. But I've been auctioning the shirt off my back at all my shows. And so we brought in between $420. I don't think that was a coincidence. The guy wanted to bid $420. I think it had Or that was but we got 1,200 one day and a handful of 500s, and then last night I forgot to bring up the I forgot to do the auction. I get to the back after my show and I said to Tim Sullivan, my opener, Tim, I forgot to do the auction. He said, why don't you just walk out and then announce it, you know? So okay, now I've got to do the meet and greet. I said, I forgot to do this. I'm so sorry if somebody wants it for a buy it now price of $500. It's yours. So a guy raises his hand, and then another woman who it turns out she wasn't even a wrestling fan. She goes, hey, that's not an auction. We want it for $550. And so we had on the gimmick line, the merchandise line,
That's cool.
the post-show meet and greet line, we did have a little bidding auction, and her husband ended up buying it for $1,250. So
that's awesome.
So as soon as it's done here, I will go over to that. The big issue is because I don't know how to make donations via Facebook, that they agreed that when they see my donation come in, they will inform Shannon's mom, and then she can note it as a donation from her campaign. And hopefully when wrestling fans see that doing well, they'll be more inclined. I think they need, I mean, this is a tough part of the business to talk about. But this business affects all of us in some way emotionally. As soon as even if it doesn't involve mental illness, I tell prospective wrestlers, which I know, I said, be prepared to have. I said, it's a good chance you'll have your body broken in some way, but it's a guarantee you'll have your heart broken. Probably.
Wow, that is solid advice.
Yeah.
So be prepared. I mean, I know I've had my heart broken for angles that I believed in that didn't happen. Pushes I thought would be better that didn't go. So I can't imagine what you went through when you got this character that has succeeded in every task it's been assigned, and then they tell you, no, it's run its angle, it's run its course. Like,
yeah, it was just, well, and they didn't even tell me that. It was like, intellectual savior. I think that worked, but it worked a little too good. And then the stunt double thing, that was, it was what it was. And I what really got me is I never got an answer, right? And that, when what you said about, yes, I was heartbroken because this company that I had, I never failed a drug test, did everything I was asked to do. And they didn't even think I was worth, hey, we just don't want to go with you. Like I wasn't like that. And there were some people in the office, like there was one guy in particular, not Vince, but I would have thought, like, based on how he was when I first got brought up, that he would have at least talked to me. And to a degree, I was heartbroken, and I walked away from wrestling for a while. And that did cause some issues and self-worth and everything. And it was, but turning point was realizing, and we were just talking about, with the suicide prevention and everything, where we have the ability to make our own choices, but sometimes it gets so skewed because our self-worth, if we love the business, is dependent on not even the fans. Because like with me, the fans, every time I went through I was like, okay, but what we're worth on TV and how we're treated, it depends on one or two people. And that is the definition of an unhealthy relationship.
It is.
No, it is.
This isn't pick on WWE Day. It's just, I think it's just illustrating the unique situation we're in, and how in a period of time when mental health is a very delicate subject, in the sense that it's affecting more and more of us. I think this, I used to say about wrestling, they said, is wrestling to blame for, the overdoses and things of that nature? I said, it's not wrestling. It's people who are attracted to wrestling tend to live life larger. They don't follow the Foley instantaneous risk reward ratio analysis, because if we did do that, we probably wouldn't get in because the chances of making it are small.
Yeah.
Chances of being hurt emotionally are large. Chances of being hurt physically are large. Chances of being hurt emotionally are even larger. Exactly. And now we're in a situation where we do have, for better or worse, a strange dichotomy. So that, and I'll give you an example involving you, Aron. You know, December 2012. I don't think you have many kids listening, but if they are, I'll put it between the lines. I'd been assigned the task of being one of Santa's ambassadors, right? In December 2012. While I'm waiting for my wife, I send a photo of me in the red suit, an appearance the day before at Santa's Village in New Hampshire, to Stephanie and say, ho, 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 from St. Nick. And Stephanie responds back, she says, wow, Mick, is that you? You look incredible. I was like, you need a Santa for tribute to the troops? And so with all of 2 hours of experience, now I'm being seen on TV in front of thousands, live in front of thousands, TV in front of a couple million people. So the next year, now I grow out that beard. Remember, I show up and I think I'm pretty good, right? 2013, I'm ready to go back on Raw. And the writers come up to me and go, we got nothing on Raw. And I feel like that inner child. I feel like Dale Doback and Brennan Huff after they've been roughed up by Chris Gardocki on the playground and Step Brothers, where you're like, I just want to be Santa, you know? And we're working with Mark Henry as the, you know.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? So I pitched Vince the idea of putting me, I said, comedy works in threes. You know, I said, these guys are doing their thing. They need the Santa to referee this thing. You know, I had a striped red and white shirt. I'm playing it serious, you know, Santa, you know, 1, 2, just 2, you know. And then Vince just goes, I think we have enough Santas. Like, no, you need a third. You need Santa.
See, I mean, you do Vince very well.
Oh, Mick, you know what? I would have loved that.
It would have been so much fun, but that's just the point. Where was he wrong? In my opinion, he was wrong.
Yes.
But his idea, it's his company. It doesn't strike him as a good idea. And at a certain point, like 5 months later, my daughter said to me, she goes, Dad, you have to stop talking about not being Santa in Texas. You're no longer fun to be around. So here, having enjoyed the successes I did, and I've got my bee in a bonnet, whatever you want to call it, over having had that opportunity taken away from me. Now, the can't say happy ending anymore. The joyous conclusion.
Silver lining. I use silver lining. The silver lining to it.
Lining is I have this experience involving Nora Jones at a small show, and Nora making a statement 8 months later, seeing my arrival at her event through her eyes. And it was like, I think I made her feel like a little kid again. And I realized it's not about 10,000 people on live. It's not about 3 or 4 million people watching on TV. It's about making that one little impact with a person. And so I was so proud to say I did get the call the next year. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't do it this year. And he said, can we ask why not? I said, I'm doing, you know, I have a charity I work with, and I'm doing an appearance that night. And so while Ho Ho Hogan did the hosting for Raw, I put on the red suit in front of 6 children at a foster home. And I never doubted that I made the right decision. But that was like a year-long odyssey just for me to get my head right about this terrible ordeal in Texas. And I only say that to illustrate that the hurt, you know, we are all, none of us are beyond it, especially April, you having been the one who probably correctly identified me as an emo kid in disguise.
You still remember that?
Oh yeah, I quote it almost every night when I'm out there. When I do my live show, that's one of the lines I lean on almost every night, and I always follow it up. I don't know if I did this with when you saw me several months ago, I said, okay, maybe so. Maybe so. Don't drive a big truck. I don't have a hunting dog. I don't hunt. I don't fish. Still drive a minivan. But nonetheless, and I'm telling a story about me and Terry Funk in Japan. I was like, the words you're about to hear are among the most badass ever spoken. And then I give the words. So by setting me up as acknowledging the side of me that is very sensitive, we then hit a home run with the badassery that we create on the stage. But I'm just going back to the fact that, hey, if it affects me and I've had my share of successes, it affects just about anyone who gets in it for the love of the business. I sometimes envy the men and women. There'd be more men than women, the ones who I think I can make some money doing this. You know, whether big, great physique, someone tells them, and there's a history of guys who did well, made their money, didn't care about anybody else, got out, didn't do the right thing on the way out, weren't interested in putting people over.
Yeah.
Business isn't going to hurt them. When things start going south, they just bail out. But for those of us who love it, inevitably, we're going to go through some tough emotional times. And for people who have it in their genes, you know, I know April, you and Daff bonded because of your similarities, personality-wise, what you struggled with. I know I'm jumping all over the place when I said that wrestling itself is not to blame, but that wrestling and the nature of the constant travel
exacerbates the situation. Just like quarantine and being isolated exacerbates it for anyone who's not a wrestler, you know.
So I would say, listen, if you're weak, if you're prone to, you know, favoring the drink, it's there for you every time you go to. If you're prone, you know, women, especially when we ran weekly towns or, you know, more regular towns, but even so, you know, if that's your weakness, it's there. And drugs, you're going to find it. For me, unfortunately, it was the restaurants, especially when I started, you know, living in real, you know, there's a lot of pain doing the style that I did. And I was like, what does it hurt? There's a Perkins, they're open. I don't smoke, I don't drink, you know, I don't even curse. I dropped that one F-bomb. Does it really hurt to go in there for a piece of pumpkin pie? Not on that night, but when you make it a point of your part of your life, you know, 5-6 times a week, you know, it's
they call it's comfort food for a reason, right?
So it went from being comfort food on the road, and then during the pandemic, it becomes your comfort during the day. It's the one thing you look forward to when you can't see anybody. So it's a long-winded way of letting you know that I know what some of the people in our business are going through.
Yeah. And then I think that hit the nail on the head. It's like when you love it, and I've, you know, with me, I had this tendency to, when I left, I just kind of compartmentalized it and said, I don't love wrestling. I'm going to go be an actor now. But, you know, it never fully went away. And then when I ended up kind of doing some stuff with NWA, I just kind of like had to come to terms with myself. And you know what, this is something I love. And I'm fortunate that I've kind of found my peace there. And I think for a lot of people, you know, they don't have that opportunity. And because to me, right, when you love something that much, it is your identity. And you know, as you know, like when you're on TV and you are this one character, that is who people think you are. Whether, I mean, you could be, you know, at Walmart in Scottsburg, Indiana, which I've been just, you know, going about my business. And then, oh, Damian Sandow, you shop here? It's like, yes, you know, I have a camouflage shirt on and like just right, like, you know, they don't see you as anything different. So you kind of mentally, you just become this, and like it's such a part of your identity as like, I'm a wrestler, I'm a WWE wrestler, or wherever you're at, that when it goes away, or, you know, you're treated a certain way there, I think your self-esteem is just, it plummets with that. And that's not a healthy thing. It's self-esteem. The first word of self-esteem is self. And, you know, whether we're talking April, Mick, Aron, like ourselves, and wrestling is a part of who we are, but it's not everything.
Yeah. I mentioned this, and I'm glad they delved into it on the A&E biography. it doesn't matter if, you know, people are telling you every day about the things you did and how you made them feel. There was a part of me for a while, a couple of year period, thought what I had done meant absolutely nothing. That made no difference at all in anyone's life. And when I was in Pasadena doing my show, April 2018, Nita Strauss played my music, right? She played the rec scene. I realized this was the first time I've had any type of entrance besides just music being played. You know, I joked around in shows. I said I never had dry ice. I never had pyro, even Gilbert got a sparkler. But now, 185 Nita Strauss goes up there and she's playing rec, and I'm getting not just goosebumps, but I'm getting the full scalp thing, the tingle and the rush and the whole thing down the spine.
Yep.
And I realized I must be somebody because Nita Strauss is playing my music. And so you can rationalize it and say, well, hey, you got these books, you know, like on one hand, I should know that I was successful. And it's like, I do. But on the other hand, and I'm getting a lot better now, but it's like, I made no contribution to this world at all. Even if people would tell me on a daily basis. And even today, and when I go out on tour, I'm doing a few things, you know, honestly up front, you know, I do make out pretty well financially. You know, people be surprised to know how close I come to main event money at the Garden when I'm in front of 200 people in Belvedere, Illinois. But far more importantly, I get to create, you know. I used to say the thing about being the dinner guest, just show up, WWF, dinner served, someone else prepared the menu. They clean up after me. But when I'm on my show doing my events, I'm 100% responsible for the way people feel when they leave that venue. And way above and beyond how many times they've laughed, I want them to think. And April, you've been to a couple of my events. Yeah, my hope is that when people leave, they have a big smile on their face and they feel to themselves, I'm really glad I went there. And when I can do that, it feels very much like being in front of a huge crowd back in the days when I was wrestling. And the upside is there's no emergency room visits. So it's
you know that you know that you're giving back because you know that you're entertaining them, you're making them happy, you're making them forget about things for a little while and taking, you know what I mean? So I was saying when you brought up identity, you know, I'm a wrestler earlier. For a lot of us or a lot of people, like even taking this to a different level, when someone goes through, say, a breakup, you know, say their marriage falls apart. Their identity is husband or wife. And that identity is no longer available to them. And that's part of the mourning that they go through as well. So say if your mother dies, you know, you're no longer, you know what I mean? It's like you lose your identity sometimes with some of these situations, and that kind of doesn't help. So, you know, if you lose your job and you're whatever your job title is, your identity has been pulled away from you as well. Not just employed, but whatever it was that you were doing.
Can I make a point with this book that I showed you? The one with this is I don't think my children are going to find out. This is their big surprise. So this is the latest Foley book, and it is almost 500 pages long.
Foley Chronicles.
It's Foley Chronicles. It's got beautiful color pages in it. Let me see if I can find some pages.
Apparently, Aron is in it.
Even something like a visit to Hershey Park. My son Mickey, before we realized he was on the autism spectrum, for like 3 years, every time a camera was on him, he would assume a Power Rangers pose. So we have this great story where he did I think it's a great story. As a dad, it's a great story. He does the Hershey factory tour where he and his brother are given a lanyard, you know, with this, like they work there. And they're making chocolates. And my wife went to say something to Mickey in 2005. So he was 4 years old. He goes, I can't talk right now. I work here. And it's just one of those stories we don't want to go away. And so I spent many months writing a book
Mhm.
that no one will ever read outside my family. And so have a
Oh.
nice day. So, you know, 1 million copies, and then a couple others did really well. I've been lucky. I've had 5 books that will that charted on the Times list. And here's one that no one will ever read, but to me, it's every bit as special, and maybe more so. And so, if people are out there, I mean, this is the one wise thing that I think I said in my entire life. I don't know how Cena comes up with these words of wisdom on a daily basis. I don't know if he has a guru that helps him, but I wrote this in 2007 book. I said, don't ever let anyone else describe for you, define for you what being a success is. We get to do that for ourselves. So if somebody wants to think that this book is a failure because only, my kids probably won't read it, at least for a few years. My daughter even said, like, Dad, she knew I was working on it. She said, Dad, don't get upset if no one reads the book. I said, it's not there for them now. It's there for them whenever they want to read it, whether that's a year from now, 5 years from now, or when they have children of their own. So I'm every bit as proud of that book that I wrote, that just as a, just as a way of showing my love as a dad, as the book I wrote that, that people still carry around to this day. So I think if we can find things that make us feel worthwhile, if we can, as wrestlers, remember the way we felt and find other ways that make us feel that way, that's a big step on that path.
Yeah. I'm glad you actually talked about your son. I remember when you swore me to secrecy about him having autism, and I never told anybody.
And then
so
he did his I had a 2015 special with WWE. I was doing the Cheap Pops, like my one-man show they're recording. And I wanted him to turn a drum roll into a drum solo, which has been done before. I think Saturday Night Live even did it. I think they had a little drummer boy episode where the little drummer boy, and then he had cymbals, and it was fun. It's not the first time it's been done, but it's the first time I did it. And he drove me crazy, but said, okay, how many times do you want me to hit the tom-tom? Do you want me to come like this? Like, do I hit 4 times? He's big on numbers, right? And I got to the point where I was almost, I have to remember the show, buddy, whatever you want to do. But that's not, when you say whatever I want to do, does that mean I can hit the tom-tom 4 times? And then he went out there on the stage, and it was like the drum solo that did not end on time. I'm trying to bring it around like, oh, yeah, boom. And he just kept going. Kept going. The momentum in the place kept building, and people started chanting his name, and he stole the show from me that day. And I was never so happy to have a show stolen from me. And without intending to do it, as soon as he was over, he was done, I lifted up my hand where I had that bracelet. This is autism acceptance. And I said, if any of you are wondering why I've been wearing this type of bracelet for 6 years, it's in support of my son who's on the spectrum. And I woke up the next day to find that I become an accidental advocate. And
I think I told you that would happen.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But how that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And listen, for someone if they're struggling, we're talking about mental health, I was a kid who was thought to be weird, and I made those weird qualities work for me as a character. And whenever I'm asked about which character I enjoyed doing the most, I give them an answer completely different than I would have in 1999. Now I look back and say Latter-day Mankind, because he wasn't the one I was proudest of, because at the time I thought, all right, I'm taking shortcuts. I'm making people laugh instead of doing the wild match that I'm going to do. Neither the Rock.
Well, sorry.
Working smarter and harder, as I say at school.
But what it did was, it made people in general laugh, took their minds off their problems. But specifically, that character resonated with people who didn't feel like they were understood. And so, of course, other guys, Steve and Rock, they had a much bigger fan bases. But I felt like when someone wore one of my shirts, they were making a point, and it made them feel good that they were not all alone And so I want to tell anyone who's listening, who's struggling, and in this era, there's more struggle than ever. We also understand we're allowed to talk about it. I think it takes more courage to talk about it than to pretend it's not happening. And just know, I mean, I felt like if my phone call had gone through that night when Daff was having her issues, that on that one night, I could have talked her out of it. Doesn't mean that she'd still be here, but I feel like that one night I could have made a difference. And sometimes you wake up the next day with a new perspective. Sometimes, you find a medication that works for you, or a number of things that can change things around. And
Honestly, Mick, I don't know if you would have been able to. It was a long time coming, and she seemed to accept it. Her parents and her family seemed to accept it. It was what she wanted. She was in a lot of physical pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all felt like we kind of failed her in a way, but we also all feel like we understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you would have been able to. And I know you can sell ice to an Eskimo, but
Well, I think maybe on that night, if
maybe,
but yeah, maybe I would have liked to have had the opportunity. April, you've written some great stuff about suicide and Chris Cornell. I remember that article you wrote about Chris Cornell.
Oh wow, you have a good memory.
Yeah, you write some profound stuff, and that's why I shared your article.
Thank you.
On Facebook a week or so ago. But I do have to get going. But please keep doing what you do. You're making the world a better place. And,
thank you. So are you.
So are you, Mick.
Real quick before you go, fill us in real fast on the shirt off my back. Tell us about that real quick.
Yes, shirt off my back campaign. Now that's limited to people who are going to my live events. You can go to realmickfoley.com throughout September, every night. We finished with Missouri, we finished with Iowa, heading into Illinois for I think 4 shows, Indiana for 4 shows, Wisconsin for a couple, 2 shows in Michigan. And every night we just do an auction. And we've gotten over 400 each night. I honestly thought, okay, what should I do? I'll donate part of my merchandise, which is what I've done in past tours. 10 or even up 20%, or if you're trying to impress Jewel in Nashville, 50%, right? Like I'm not above trying to endear myself. So I went through a larger donation. But I thought, wait a second, what if, because I was like, okay, I know what I bring in merchandise. That means maybe we'll bring in $2,000 at the end of a 25 city tour. And so I thought, shirt off my back. I did that one time in Australia for the Steve Irwin's Wildlife Warriors Foundation. Let me try it. We're going to get 100 a night. And then that first night we got 750. Someone else bid 450 for a limited art print. And the lowest we've had is $420. Last night was $1,250. As soon as I get off this interview, I'm going to make that donation to NAMI, Georgia. They will then alert Shannon's mom that it is meant for her fund. And then I encourage people to go over there. I'll tweet out the link. So if you follow me at realmickfoley.com, Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter at realmickfoley, I will tweet out the link. It would be really nice if we got more wrestling fans and wrestlers involved, especially because if fans see that people in our business are donating 10 or 20 or 50 or 100, they're going to want to be part of that. And it's just a way to ensure that her life is not forgotten, that her death is not in vain, and she's not here, but maybe through her death, we can help create awareness and provide resources so that the next time someone, whether they're in our extended wrestling family or beyond, will at least know that there are people out there willing and certified to help. Doesn't want to get them all. I mean, April, I think you've said, if somebody's made up their mind, it'd be awfully tough to change it. But for those people on the fence, I would say the great majority of people are on the fence. A lot of people think about it. Just to know that people out there, even if they know it's 3 wrestlers having a talk about their mental health, and they tune in, and it's like, I don't think they're getting paid to do this. Like, I think they genuinely care about me, and we do. I've got this independent wrestler in Western Canada made up this great meme using the Cactus Jack Wanted shirt, and this time, instead of Cactus Jack Wanted Dead or Alive, it says Cactus Jack Wants You Alive. So it's got
I like that.
Wow.
That's right.
I like that.
And that's one of those ways where we serve up a palatable way to talk about mental health and suicide prevention, because now that's just something that's going to catch eyeballs. And now, maybe a paragraph too much and you're going to lose people. But then in that text, I will then show them. I'll put up the prevention number, the hotline number, where they can make a donation to DAF's Mother's Fundraiser, and hopefully ensure that people know they have a place to go, and that people out there do care about them.
Yeah, we have been running that on our shows, the NAMI Georgia, to do their donations there. Also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Daphne's Brain immediately the next day did go to Boston.
Yeah, it's great.
Her hair was donated. So
Good.
Yeah. And her dog was given to a neighbor who had lost his wife, and he was already kind of knew the dog, and he was alone. So her dog has a good home as well.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great.
And
yeah.
Again, Mick, thank you so much for coming out, taking the time. I know how busy you are and everything, and good luck with the shows. I'll definitely be checking them out. And if you're in the area or I'm in the area, I will definitely be hitting you up to go to one. And
good.
When are you back in Tampa?
I don't know about being back in Tampa. I did one in when was that we did it? Was that November, right?
Yeah, I think so.
November. So what's fun about the show is I'm going to pick up where I left off. I'm going to just do the same show, because I only got a chance to do about 10 of them before COVID changed the whole schedule. But as I go, it's cool. I don't mean to sound all artsy, but you kind of find a path to go down. Oh, I didn't know I would go down there. And now you're having fun. You're not just reciting oldies. In some sense, every story is an old story. It's something that happened. But you find a new twist to it. I haven't done the DDP cookie story in many years, but I've got an opener named Tim Sullivan from Iowa, and he does an incredible DDP imitation. So we've been hitting people with that. We're just having a lot of fun. And I think, and what it does for me from a not selfish standpoint, but from my mental perspective, when I talked to Chris Nowinski who co-founded,
we went to school with him.
Chris is.
He was at Killer Kowalski's.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. He was Kowalski.
Yeah, he signed up my brain just before I even got out of school.
Good for him. Yeah. The National Center for
Traumatic
encephalopathy.
Thank you.
Concussion Legacy Institute. So he came to see me a few years ago. I said, Chris, this is weird, but I feel like I'm getting better. And he goes, well, Mick, what you're doing on the stage is the best form of exercise for your brain. I said, really? He goes, yes. He goes, you are repeating stories that you have learned. So you're reciting certain stories that you have worked on. You're creating stories that are new, and you are having interplay with the crowd. He goes, it's like you're doing mental gymnastics for your brain. This is like the best thing you could be doing. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that's right. Because as I'm out there, even if I have a handful of core stories that I know I'm going to, I never write anything out. I don't have notebooks like almost anyone, most people in the spoken word or comedy business do. And so I love the idea. It's like doing promos back in the day. All right, I got to bring this around. I got to bring this point around. I have to make it make sense and hopefully make it funny. And so going out there on a nightly basis, whether it's trying to make each story better, whether it's trying to interact with somebody in the audience and do it in a funny way, or whether it's trying to create new material and you're working on it. And I think this one's got potential. After 4 days, you go, no, it's time to discard it. So it's a really good way of me, trying to make up for all the things I did that could be described as stupid while I was in the ring. And I'm really enjoying it. Hope some of you will join me. Don't we have a couple rapid fire questions or something?
Oh, okay. Yes, I actually.
I didn't
I
know
don't know if you
we
want to do the
yeah.
questions. I texted April, like, I don't know if we want to do the questions now, but please.
Yeah, we want
Sure, yeah.
a note. Okay, let's go.
And it's funny that you say that about getting better. I feel like I'm getting better too. So I don't, through whatever it is I'm doing, going to school and doing this. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought maybe I was delusional. So thank you for saying that.
I think it's the chickens, April, that keep you young.
It might be the chickens. Yeah. Chickens. So okay, so we have a little game we've been playing lately. It's called Deserted Island. So
What's
just
it called?
answer Deserted Island.
Deserted Island. Okay.
On this deserted island, you get to have one meal for the duration of the time that you're on the deserted island. What is that meal?
I have to have it every day.
That's it. Yep.
Well, the responsible would be like the Orgain 100% organic meal replacement.
Yeah.
I had to have one thing to get me all my.
That is the politically correct answer. What is the meal that you would choose?
Fatty Zweigel's hot dogs out of Rochester, New York, and a shoe fly pie flown in from the Dutch Haven in Bronx, Pennsylvania. Final answer.
That's an answer. That is an answer right there. Okay. What is the one song that you would be able to tolerate over and over and over again for the duration of your stay on this deserted island?
Now, people know how much I love Winter by Tori Amos, but I can't go there that often. So I would go with Man on the Silver Mountain by Rainbow.
Really?
Dude, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Mick is a music savant. Like he is all about the music. He really is an emo kid. So
yes.
Well, this is one of those. This is a badass jam. This is Richie Blackmore laying down the music, Ronnie James Dio on vocals. And I was the both of them. And last night I was listening to the live version. I was like, Richie, you're rushing it. You're rushing it. Like, give his vocals room to breathe. So I had to go back and listen to the studio version, and it's so great. And the reason I bring it up is because every night when I do my signings, if my silver Sharpie is running out of ink, as they all do, I'm always have to. Hey, is Richie Blackmore here? I know he knows a man with a silver Sharpie. Nobody laughs. Nobody gets it. Or else
I would have got that. Yep.
That you're talking to Aron's genre of music right there. That's what he likes.
I'm a fan of Blackmore's Night too.
Yeah. They're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because his wife Candace is a good friend of mine, and there's a
God. I love those. Oh my God. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite bands. Blackmore's Night.
Want to hear the backstory there?
Yeah, please.
One day, because it's the pandemic, I do like Joan Baez, but not enough to watch Joan Baez concert. But I watch it, and she's got this song called "Diamonds and Rust." It's one of those songs.
Absolutely.
She wrote it about her, past relationship with Bob Dylan. It's a great song, and so I go to now after I watch it, wow, I'm really taken with it. I knew it before; I'd never seen her perform it live. I Google it, and I see that the metal band Judas Priest covers it.
You got another thing coming. Oh, sorry, that's just
they cover Rust. Completely different. And then up pops the suggested viewing of Blackmore's Night. Up until then, I thought it was Richie Blackmore with a hard rock band, and it's just this beautiful rendition of the song. So I go on Twitter, I mention it, and within about 20 minutes, I see that Candace has liked it. And now you know that you're following me, I'm following you. And she said, my child actually met you when you were Santa at their school. And so we just started talking, and she had me over a couple times. There's a video of me and Candace singing Hollywood, not Hollywood Boulevard by the Kinks. Yeah, I think it's called Hollywood Boulevard. Celluloid Heroes with Richie playing guitar.
Wow.
So yeah, when you get, it's almost like being a comic on the couch, and Johnny invites you from over to the couch.
Mhm.
So I went out to eat with them, and she was like, "Hey, Richie would like you to come by and afterwards, and maybe we'll sing a couple songs." And it was, hey, again, this is a situation where there's just three of us there. It's me, Candace, and Richie, and I'm singing Celluloid Heroes with Candace. And so that's what I was listening to last night. I was listening to Richie, followed by 3 or 4 of Blackmore's Night songs. And then I finally made it to my hotel.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Small world. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So-
All right.
So
Well,
Mick has lived a weird life,
Mhm.
just like you, Aaron. You guys have some interesting stories.
Look,
man,
you
I'll
know,
tell
I told you about how I was working on my handwriting so it looked like Santa's, right?
mhm.
Have you seen any of the ones I've done? They're good. I might have to
No, but I no.
I've sent you Santa videos on Christmas Eve before.
Yes.
You like those. So
Yes.
I send 2 letters over. Hopefully Richie's kids aren't watching this. And Candace has informed me about a few things, so I know which bird sanctuary they went to, and Santa was right there. You didn't see him. I was behind, whatever it was. But I'm telling them things that only Santa would know. And Candace says to me, like, Richie doesn't impress easily. Richie was so impressed by your writing to the point where he thought it was a font. Like he thought that it was something.
Wow.
I did the same thing with Nita Strauss. Wrote her a letter
Wow.
thanking her for jamming with my son, and she was like, "Well, this is cool, but why is Mick hiring somebody to write a letter from?" And then her boyfriend Josh is like, "Nita, that's Mick's handwriting." And so that's a thing where you see the time into it, and people, they appreciate that. And I love the part of the idea of being part of somebody's memories. So they put that letter in a box. They break it out. They remember the letter in a way that they might not remember a fleeting moment on video.
Yeah.
I love that. I too have my own font. It is not readable, but it's definitely my own font. Okay, you can take, because 2 more real quick ones. One item from the bathroom.
Go ahead. You again. Will you show me how to take my writing? So this would be like on this book. This would be my writing. The Foley Chronicles.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That
is beautiful.
This is a good writing. It takes a while. It definitely includes some effort.
It's like
Will
calligraphy.
You show me how to turn it into a font?
You can make your own font, actually.
I know. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I can show you that.
2 more questions.
Okay, you can take 1 item from your bathroom to this deserted island, and it's not toilet paper, because people don't have that. So, what would you take with you?
Bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the Febreze air freshener. You got to be. Got to take care of that island. You know.
Yep.
You got
tropical island scent in a twist of irony. Like the tropical.
You can't have the other. You can't have like the meerkats go.
No. Now, Trevor Murdoch wanted to bring his toothbrush. I like your answer better.
No.
Okay, and last but not least, on the screen that is the palm trees on this deserted island, you can watch 1 movie over and over again. What would you choose?
It's not a movie, but it is a 1960 Twilight episode called Night of Meek with Art. Oh, you got to watch it, April. It's on.
I love Twilight.
Oh, it's 1960. What's super cool about it is they were going over budget, and so they had to cut down on the staging and the lighting. There's even a part where Art Carney, who's a down on his luck Santa Claus, you could tell he's botching his lines, and he's picking up the pieces and going. And it only makes it better. It makes it looks like a Broadway play. It's Art Carney as a down in his luck department store Santa Claus who finds a magic bag that allows him to pretty much give everybody what is in their heart's desire. It's everything that's great about Christmas, and even, on a bigger level, it's great about, giving to others. And it's got a summation that gives me goosebumps every time, that should they ever try to do a Hollywood big budget episode of it, would not be as effective, because what we imagine in our head is far more impressive than if they were to put it up there in CGI.
I just wrote down Art Carney, Twilight Christmas.
Very cool.
60s.
Awesome.
I will find it.
The Meek. Night of the Meek.
The Meek. Night of the Meek. And
MEEK.
So
yeah.
This is my font.
All right.
So have you you have
so
seen
much
Black
that,
Mirror, right?
The last line of this book I did for my kids says, and I can show you, as that classic 1960 Twilight Zone episode said, there is a special power reserved for little people. In short, there is nothing mightier than the meek. So yeah, pretty cool, right?
I like it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Nick, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. That is a nice note to end on. Thank you for coming on to discuss what you're doing and how generous you are. Thank you for, pushing Daphne's fundraisers, for NAMI and the CTE over the top with your extreme generosity. Thank you for taking the time to be on here.
Got over the 20 or 30 minutes that we said we would allot.
We did. We did.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you though so much. So
Mick, you know what? You are making so much of a difference, and you're making a difference on so many different levels and in so many different things, and it's inspirational. So genuinely, again, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Do the favor of pointing to me as I point to you.
I don't have my glasses here, but please, right, ready?
There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
I'm Mick now. I'm now Mick now.
So, hey, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate
Thank you.
You
Keep making the world a better place as you have been doing.
I'll try. Thanks you.
Okay,
thank you.
Right. That was awesome.
Wow.
Cool.
I'm so glad he could join us. Thanks to all of you who have joined us too. And we apologize for the delay with travel. You never know how it's going for people. So thank you for being patient and hanging in there.
Yes, thank you all. Again, you know what? If you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't, tell an enemy. What a great episode. Again, great to connect with Mick again. But just, look, if anyone out there, and like we said, struggling with, the thought of suicide or knows anyone struggling with it, just it's never easy. We all know that, but reach out, please. Take a deep breath. Understand that in that moment, although there may seem to be absolutely no light, there is. And the fact that you're still there, the fact that even taking that one deep breath, because you know what? If you have nothing else to lose, it shows you do have some control. And if you can do that, you can take another breath. And then you can take another one after that and another one after that. So people are there. You're not alone. We're here for you. We're in your corner. And that's all I have to say.
Can I add something too?
Please.
Two things actually. I'm not gonna undersell. Yeah, thank you. I'm not gonna undersell counseling, therapy, or getting a psychologist for help, because a lot of people don't do it because they have a preconceived notion of what it's about. First off, finding a good therapist is like trying on shoes. The first pair might not be right for you. The first therapist or two might not fit well with you. So you might have to try a few. So you might not have a good experience from before, try a few therapists, find the one that fits, and then understand this. This is the big deal. This is a service you are paying for. I'm going to repeat that. Therapy is a service you are paying for. So get the most out of it. Do not feel bad about anything you're saying. Get the most out of it. Use it. You're putting your money toward it. Get it. And the other thing is, I have a friend that works at suicide hotlines. You guys may have seen him, Jamie. He was on the Daphne show. If you guys have not seen our tribute to Daphne, you can go to patreon.com. The A show. It is a free show on there. Jamie tells me about some of his calls. The suicide hotline people are there to listen. They do honestly want to help. They are trained to help. So if you don't have anyone to talk to, call them, because they can help you find the light at the end of the tunnel. They can help you find the hope that you might not be able to find at that particular moment. So because they are used to dealing with crises, and they look at things from a completely different perspective. So don't hesitate to reach out to anyone, who can help you handle this. Okay. And that is just what I wanted to add. So,
Amen. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Maybe I will see some of you good people this weekend. My first trip to the Northeast in a while. Wrestling Universe on Saturday in Queens, and then somewhere in Allentown on Sunday, and then what are those signings called where you do it online and they watch you?
Virtual signings.
A virtual signing. I'm doing that also. I will post all that information on my social media, and hopefully I will get to meet some of you in person and online. That would be fantastic. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully next week here, Tuesday night, 7:30. We are live right here on Twitch, and you can also find us on Patreon. So the A show. Go ahead, Aron. You can close us out.
Oh, I said it before. I'll say it again. If you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't, tell an enemy. And we're signing off.
Yep.